Welcome everybody today. My name is Helena. I'm a kinesiologist, a Reiki practitioner, doing some training in IET energy work at the moment. And my background is also drama and theatre and stuff. So I'm working with drama and theatre in an applied sense. So doing various workshops and applying the tools that we use as actors and training actors to, I suppose, step into characters, release some of those natural or habitual blocks and patterns that we have. So I draw on a various number of techniques when I'm working with people. Um, and one of the quotes that I came across by Charles Darwin was, "It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change." And I think when we're talking about energy and feelings and stiffness and stuff that gets stuck in the body, then we sometimes can feel like there's no hope for change and that things won't change. And so this workshop is an invitation to you to think about what you can change within your daily life. I'm going to give you some tools and techniques, gentle ones. You can go at your own pace. This is about you and your body, your experience. No two people are the same. Everybody, has a different experience of pain, of illness, of their body. So I just invite you to go um, at your own pace with this and take what you need from it. Um, but I suppose one of the things I would encourage you to do, and again invite you to do, is consider the possibility of change and that you have potential for change. Because we can, as I said, forget about that sometimes. So one of the things as a kinesiologist I work with is the whole person and how we eat, how we think, how we move, how we sleep, everything impacts us. And it's important to just think about those things for yourself. Just kind of check in with yourself there for a moment, take a pause, and just think, how are you eating? How are you sleeping? How are you thinking? How are you moving? And even if that's you're in the bed or whatever, can you bring a little bit of movement into the body? So some of that we'll work with through the session today. But just kind of have a little check-in for yourself in terms of kind of a holistic, how are you eating? Is the food nourishing your energy or is it draining your energy? And we won't judge it, we'll just think about it. How are we thinking? What are our thoughts? Are our thoughts keeping us stuck? Or are they part of the challenge of keeping stuck? Are you waking up in the morning going, ugh, another day? Or are you waking up looking forward to the day or somewhere in between? And then thinking about how you're sleeping. Because when we sleep, it allows our bodies to restore, do its own healing work. As kinesiologists, we work on the premise that the body is its own best healer. And how can we get out of the way of allowing it to heal? How can we remove stress from our bodies through the foods we eat, through the thoughts we think, through the way we're moving, through our sleep, etc. So again, just checking in with yourself. What is that like for you? And it can be different on different days. I certainly know myself. It can be different. There are some mornings I wake up and I'm like, oh, the thoughts of it. And there are other days that I'm, what do I say, jumping with joy. Some days I'm not jumping. I'm never a morning person, so I very rarely jump out of bed. But it's important to review that for yourself. And taking it in those little components can feel less overwhelming than going, oh, it's just everything. So just breaking it down a little bit for yourself. So these are some things with the body, mind, our emotions and behavior that stress. And stress when it comes down to it, the root cause of everything is stress, and we live in a very stressful society. And so, as a holistic health practitioner, I'm always about removing stress from the body. And when we're in stress, we can experience headaches, frequent infections, taut muscles, muscular twitches, fatigue, skin irritations, breathlessness. In terms of our emotions, we have loss of confidence, we become more fussy, we become irritable, we depression, apathy, alienation, apprehension, all those sorts of things. Our mind, we've got worrying, muddled thinking, brain fog, impaired judgment, nightmares, indecisions, negativity, hasty decisions. And then our behavior, it can lead to us becoming more accident prone, maybe a loss of appetite, a loss of sex drive. We could be drinking more, insomnia. Drinking more water is a better behavior, but drinking more wine or beer might not be. Insomnia, restlessness, we could be smoking more, different things, vaping, etc. And this is another one that was given to me on some training. I'm not going to go through it all, but you can see it. It's the four stress responses: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And, you know, I realized a number of years ago I was in fight for a number of years. And I did move into flight. And then I kind of got stuck in that for a while, which is how I found kinesiology about 8 years ago. And then I was also in fawn, huge people pleaser and pleasing nobody in the end. Definitely not myself. So my energy was down. My energy was stuck. I didn't know whether I was depressed or not. This was about 2016. There had been a lot of stress in my personal life over the past few years previous to that. And then it just took I lost something of myself. I lost my mojo. I was working full time as a lecturer in the UK, and I found myself on the couch most evenings, not able to move. And although I was going into work, yeah, I'd lost a bit of myself. I had also entered my early 40s. So, knowing what I know now, I was probably starting perimenopause and all that kind of stuff. But it was an accumulation of stress on the body, probably for over about 20 odd years, if I was to be honest. And I wasn't probably taking care of myself the way I could have been. Um, and so I went for kinesiology and my energy shifted. That was a big thing for me at the end of it. I had no, we test muscles in kinesiology, so I had no strength in any of my leg muscles, particularly. And I would have been sporty when I was younger, would have considered myself fairly strong or whatever. Um, and through a combination of what the kinesiologist did, by the end of the session, I could resist in my legs all the pressure. So I was fascinated by the energy moving around my body and how it flowed and stuff like that. And I suppose it led me on a quest to then train as a kinesiologist and move more into holistic health and stuff. Um, so again, you can read all these at your leisure, but I'm sure you're more than aware of the effect of stress on your own body and the different areas that it impacts. That's for you later. It's a body scan meditation that you can click on, but I'm going to do that now. So, what I'd like you to do wherever you are at the moment is I would like you to just close your eyes if that's available to you, or lower your gaze. And we're just going to take a moment to ground ourselves and check in with yourselves. So, right at this moment, on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your energy? 1 being no energy at all, and 10 being full of energy. And just make a note of whatever number pops into your head. And then I'd like you just to, if you're sitting, place your feet on the ground. If you're lying down, just become aware of the points of contact that your body is making with the bed or the couch. And place your hands loosely on your lap if you're sitting, or down by your side, or on your belly if you're lying down. And we're just going to start with some gentle breathing, just to become aware of the breath. So drop inside and note how you're breathing at the moment. Just observe it. Don't judge it. Just observe. And we're going to do a thing called coherent breathing. And we're just going to, if it's available to you, breathe in for a count of 6 and breathe out for a count of 6. And we're going to do that through the nose. If for whatever reason you can't make number 6, that's okay. Drop out at number 3 and just work on a 3 pattern. I'm going to try and aim for the 6. So just allow the air to leave the body. And then we're going to breathe in and out through the nose, just following my voice. So again, just let all the air leave the body. And in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just let that breath practice fall away, but continue to breathe in a slow and mindful way. And just observe if any changes have occurred in your body. And now I'd like you to bring your awareness to your feet. And just imagine out of the feet are growing the roots of a strong oak tree. And they're connecting you down into the earth. So that we're feeling supported by the earth. And at the same time, bring your awareness to the top of your head and imagine a bright white light coming into the top of the head. And this bright light is connecting you to source, whatever source is for you, so that you're feeling supported by the earth and connected to the universe. And just again, noticing the breath, gentle breathing. And then we've another breath exercise practice called box breathing. You may be aware of it already. And you simply breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, breathe out for a count of 4, and hold for a count of 4. And we'll do about 4 rounds of that. Nice and gentle, just follow my voice. So again, this time we're going to breathe in through the nose, but out through the mouth. So letting go of any breath at the moment. And then in, two, three, four. Hold, two, three, four. Out, two, three, four. Hold, two, three, four. In, two, three, four. Hold, two, three, four. Out, two, three, four. In, hold, two, three, four. In, two, three, four. Hold, two, three, four. Out, two, three, four. Hold, two, three, four. In, two, three, four. Hold, two, three, four. Out, two, three, four. And hold, two, three, four. And just letting that practice fall away. And again, noticing anything that might have shifted in your own breathing, in your own body. And when you're ready, just gently bring a little bit of movement into the body and then open the eyes. So those breathing exercises, and they're very simple practices, and you can do them, as often or as little as you like. But I'd recommend tuning into yourself for a couple of minutes and doing those. And when you go into overwhelm as well, and this is even, with heart palpitations, anything like that, because it's a stress in the body and you're feeling anxious, is to bring yourself into the here and now. And to do that, it's about making contact with the body. Yeah, and making contact with the now. One thing you can do is you can do a thing called a chest flush, and you can do this obviously as lightly or as deeply as you want, but you don't have to do very deep pressure. But if you can do a little bit firm, that's okay. But even just doing this and just telling yourself, I'm calm. I'm calm. My mind is calm. It is safe for me for my mind to be calm. I'm at peace. I'm at calm. Doing that, you'll suddenly start to feel yourself, believing yourself that you are a bit more calm. And what you're doing here as well is you're activating some lymphatic reflex points, which get the lymph kind of moving. There's also another thing you can do, which is here at the side of the shoulder, what's kind of like it's shaped like a banana. So you can kind of feel in the side of the shoulder. Again, you go as lightly as needed for you, but if you can put a little bit of firm pressure, it's good. And you just give a little bit with the tips of your fingers, about 3 fingers, bit of a massage there. Just a little bit of a massage there. And we're working on the central brain meridian, which is connected to our nervous system. And you can do the other side. And one side might feel a bit more tender than the other side, but just have a feel. It's different on everybody. And it's connected to a muscle here on the shoulder called the supraspinatus. And by doing that, you start to kind of get the lymph moving to feed and clean this muscle. Lymph doesn't move around the body unless we move. That's why exercise is good for us in that sense. It helps lymph feeds and cleans the muscles. So you can also put your hands on your head and bring them to the base of the skull, just where the kind of skull turns, and you'll find little indents in there. And you can give them a little rub with your 2 or 3 fingers either side. They can also be quite tender, but this can is really good for helping with brain fog, and kind of overthinking as well, which would be, I suppose, the opposite end of brain fog. And I think brain fog for me is when I'm overwhelmed, too much overthinking, and then I go into brain fog because it shuts down. It's like, stop, Lena. And then you can, from the bottom, I'll just stand up a little bit here, from the bottom of the pubic bone right up to the bottom lip. It's like you're zipping up, and that is a shift in energy. You are working with the meridian of that central brain system, and that doing that a few times helps to pep up the energy. So I would like you now just to do a little quick body scan, just to check where you are in your body, just to check what's tight, what isn't. Again, I'll get you to just follow my voice, and we're going to work from the feet right up to the head. And so I just want you to notice maybe um, if there's any numbness or tightness or tingling or any sort of sensation, any tension there, any tiredness there. And if you imagine maybe a traffic light system, so if green is it feels okay, amber, that area is feeling a little bit edgy or tense, and red then is just really kind of it's in pain. So we'll just notice it as we go through. Okay, and again, it'll be different for everybody. So again, I invite you now just to close the eyes, check in with your breath, feel your body on the chair or on the bed or the couch, and bring your awareness to your feet. How are they feeling? Your heels, your ankles, your calves, your shins, your knees, your thighs, your hips, your pelvic area, your lower back, your lower abdomen, your upper abdomen, your upper back, your ribs, your chest, your shoulder blades, your shoulders, your upper arms, your elbows, your lower arms, your wrists, your hands, back of your hand, palm of your hand, your fingers, and bringing your awareness back to your neck. How is your neck feeling? How is your chin feeling? Your jaw, your cheeks, your ears, your eyes, your eyebrows, your forehead, the back of your head. Making a note of the different sensations in the different parts of the body. How often do you pay attention to all those different parts of the body? Slow down and take the time. And then just on a breath in, I invite you to tense all the muscles, every part of your body. Just bring some tension into it. Squeeze the face, and then just release on a breath out. And again, tensing everything on a breath in, and then releasing on a breath out. We'll do that once more. Tensing on a breath in. See if you can make it a little bit tighter. Everything a bit tense. And then release. And that's a good way also to shift the energy and change what the body is doing. So when we bring our awareness to different parts of the body, we can sometimes go, oh, actually, my upper arm is okay on one side, but it feels a bit tight on the other. Maybe if I tense the muscles on the tight side just a little bit and then bring conscious relaxation into that area, something might shift or change. And again, with kinesiology, what we're doing, what we're trained in, is to think of the body um, as almost like, I suppose, a fuse board or a circuit board. And that where you have a pain or tightness isn't necessarily where the problem might be originating. It could be somewhere else. You might have to trace back a bit. So you're looking kind of for root causes at times. And and also if you think of your body and the brain really as a computer, and I imagine the brain as a computer as having 14 big, huge cables coming out of the brain. And those cables are what known as energy pathways that move through the body. And they're the 14 meridians of the traditional Chinese medicine. So you've got central brain, you've got governing spine, here kind of in the center. And then you've got stomach, spleen, heart, small intestine, bladder, kidney, pericardium, triple warmer burner, gallbladder, liver, lung, large intestine. Okay, so they're 12 of the meridians that run in a 2 hour window over a 24-hour cycle. And each of those times, that 2 hour window, so from 9 a.m. in the morning to 11 a.m., is when your spleen is doing its work. It's kind of that's its window. And it'll be repairing itself and doing what it needs to do and sorting things out. And if that's low in energy, it can have a knock-on effect on the other meridians around the body. So it's trying to get those systems in balance. So I'd like you to have a look at this for a minute, if you can, and just think about, when do you feel, um, I suppose, at your worst or in most pain or low in energy or low mood? Um, what might be going on around that time? Is it a recurring pattern that happens for you? Are you waking in the middle of the night at certain times? The 14 meridians of the traditional Chinese medicine. So you've got central brain, you've got governing spine, here kind of in the center. And then you've got stomach, spleen, heart, small intestine, bladder, kidney, pericardium, triple warmer burner, gallbladder, liver, lung, large intestine. Okay, so they're 12 of the meridians that run in a 2 hour window over a 24-hour cycle. And each of those times, that 2 hour window, so from 9 a.m. in the morning to 11 a.m., is when your spleen is doing its work. It's kind of that's its window. And it'll be repairing itself and doing what it needs to do and sorting things out. And if that's low in energy, it can have a knock-on effect on the other meridians around the body. So it's trying to get those systems in balance. So I'd like you to have a look at this for a minute, if you can, and just think about, when do you feel, I suppose, at your worst or in most pain or low in energy or low mood? Um, what might be going on around that time? Is it a recurring pattern that happens for you? Are you waking in the middle of the night at certain times? A lot of people wake between 3 and 5 a.m. in the morning, and that's the lungs, and it's the element of metal, and it's grief. Okay, so it can be loss, but it can also be stuff is giving us grief. And the large intestine then is 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning. And the large intestine is paired with the lung, and that's about letting go, which is often why we have a bowel movement in the mornings, because we're letting go of some of the stuff that's been released and worked on during the night. If you wake between, I don't know if this is often, well, not often happens to me, but has on occasion. Um, I might go to bed at around 10, half 10, 11, something like that. And then I'll read and then I fall asleep and then I wake between 1 and 2 often, as if I've had a full night's sleep. I wake right and I go, jeepers. And then I look at the clock and I go, what? It's only half 1 in the morning. What is going on? And immediately I'm going, oh, what's going on with my liver? Okay. And so, because I should be in deep sleep, but my liver has just woke me up. So the emotion connected to that is anger. Okay. So I might do a little bit of self-inquiry and go, oh, where am I experiencing anger in my life at the moment? Is it in work? Is it with family? Is it with friends? Is it about my finances? Is it about my health? Whatever. And then just doing a little bit of self-inquiry there and how can I support or how can I release and let go of that anger? Because that anger is going to give me grief. And if I don't let go of it, it's going to affect everything. So anger, someone said, and like bitterness and all that. So anger actually impacts our immune system. So it's 3 minutes of anger um, impacts our immune system for up to 8 hours. So, and it's not that we can't feel angry. Of course we can, and we should feel angry. We have an awful habit in this country, of suppressing anger. Yeah, no, don't be angry. Don't be angry. You know, how often do you say that to young children and even in relationships and stuff like that? We swallow the anger, we suppress the anger, and it gets stuck, but we need to release it. So there is, scream into the pillow. Let it out, so then that you're not holding on to that anger. Um, but this chart is really good. Kidneys and bladder, is to do with fear. And, where are you experiencing fear in your life? Where have you? Um, and what can you do to shift that? So yeah, so that's a good little chart to have a look at and think about your body clock, and what you might do. And it can sometimes even just, thinking about your liver is on under the kind of right side, under the chest, kind of there. You can't really, I don't know if you see me, just kind of under here. And actually sometimes placing your hand on that area and just saying, it is safe for me to let go of the anger. You don't need to go into a whole story about it. You just say, I release any anger that I'm holding. It is safe for me to let it go. Nobody can release your anger for you, and I've learned that the hard way, as we all do. So getting in touch with some of those emotions can be actually very powerful to shift energy. Yeah. Earth, our stomach and our spleen, is the earth metal, and that's associated with sympathy and stuck sympathy. What are you feeling sorry for? Who are you feeling sorry for? Um, are you overly sympathetic? Have you extended yourself too much in the past? And it's about earthing yourself and taking back your power. And that grounding exercise earlier, just to remind yourself that you are connected to the earth and supported by the universe can help um can help shift that feeling. We're not responsible for everyone. We're only really responsible for ourselves and the actions that we can take every day. And each minute, each moment is a new moment, and that's all you have. When we spend too much time thinking about the future and our head is going on. It's all these thoughts, what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen. Oh, I'm worried about that. I'm an awful worrier. The head goes, whoa. That creates anxiety. Because your brain doesn't know whether what you're thinking about is real or not. Same if you're sitting down watching EastEnders every night or Coronation Street and there's drama after drama. You're getting involved. How many times do you feel your heart racing? You're watching something or whatever, or a thriller or, different things. Your brain doesn't know that it's not actually happening. Your body is just responding. You can think of something you did maybe in the past that was embarrassing and you'll blush. Yeah. And it's not actually the embarrassing thing isn't happening at the moment, but just the thought of it. So I would strongly advise you to maybe just examine some of those kind of emotions of joy, sympathy, grief, anger, and fear, and what kind of questions around those and what thoughts might be keeping you stuck. And then I'm going to give you now some practical exercises to help let go of some of that stress in the body from the different things. So this is another technique that you could do even around that time if you were trying to de-stress yourself. It's called emotional stress release, and we love it as kinesiologists. And so what you do is you think of something that's bothering you, okay? And you can rate that on a scale of 1 to 10. So something that's really bothering you, something that's up around an 8, okay? At least. Um, and what you then do is you place your hands on your forehead. So you 2 or 3 fingers. And what you're doing is you're placing them, if you go to the center of your eyebrows and then about halfway up the forehead, just rest your fingers there and slightly stretch the skin very slightly towards the hairline. And focus as much as you can on that thing that is stressing you until you feel maybe a sigh or a yawn, or your mind starts to drift and you're struggling to focus on it. So just do that for a couple of minutes. What you're doing there is and this is a really good one for the adrenals actually, and for stress. When we start to think of something that's bothering us, we activate the stress response. And that means that our blood drains from the brain and goes to our limbs or our organs. It's getting us ready to fight or to fly. Okay. So we can't think clearly. But when we place our hands on these points in the forehead, we're signaling to the body that even though I'm thinking about the stressful stuff and it's encouraging me to go into fight or flight, it's okay. It's not life-threatening. And so it encourages the blood flow back into the prefrontal cortex of the brain. And it is a very, very simple but very powerful technique. One that we use an awful lot in sessions. And you can do that yourself, no problem. Another one you can do is link your hands and place them at the back of your head and almost allow the head to fall into the back of the hands. And then you're going to move your eye direction towards the right. And you're just going to look into the corner of the right eye, over to the right again, until you feel maybe a sigh or a yawn. This time you don't even have to think about anything. It will just activate your parasympathetic nervous system. And then you bring it back into the center. And then you go to the left side. And there I'm getting a yawn again. And then bringing back to the center. And actually just move then your neck from one side to the next. It's good to release. That exercise is a vagus nerve exercise, which works with optical nerves to encourage you to go into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest. When we're in sympathetic nervous system, we're in fight or flight. Okay. You can do this for anything, this particular, the emotional stress release one. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to do a little meridian energy brush. So I was talking about those meridians that run around the body. So here, there's quite a few of them. There's 6 of them up on the arms. So basically, you take one palm, take the palm of one hand and place it on the opposite chest. And then you're going to sweep down the inside of the arm and off the fingertips. So sweeping off the inside of the arm and off the fingertips. And now you're going to turn your arm over and you're going to come from the back of the hand, the fingertips and the back of the hand, and you're going to come up the outside of the arm, over the back of the shoulder, to the ear, to the outside corner of the eyebrow. So again, we're going to do this 3 times on each side of the body. And we're going to start with the right hand on the left chest. And stretch your arm out and just trace it down, just nice and gently. Turn the hand over, up behind the shoulder, behind the ear, and to the corner of the eyebrow. Come back to the chest, down the inside of the arm, nice and gentle. You can do it on the skin, or you can do it just in the energy field. You can do that and see, is it different? So you're tracing the aura and there. And then we'll move to the other side. We're going down the inside of the body, off the arm, off the fingertips, and then over the top of the arm, over the shoulder, the eye, the ear, and to the corner of the eyebrow. Back to the chest. I'm just doing that. And that is a lovely one, because you're getting in touch with 6 of the meridians. Lovely. And then you can just gently pat the outside of the arm on both sides. Just very gentle tapping on the inside of the arm, on the inside of the arm. You can pat your chest, your shoulders. You can pat anywhere on your upper body. Pat just very lightly, pat your thighs. You can go down to your legs, whatever is available to you in your position at the moment. Okay. Cross your arms and give a nice pat down of the body. You can tap your head very gently. And see, even while you're just tapping, you can also kind of play the piano on your head. So very gentle, as light as a feather. And just see if you notice any or any sensations in your body as you're just tapping or playing the piano on your head. And then you can just shake your hair a little bit anywhere. And then even if you can pull the roots of the hair, just gently. Again, going with your own pain, knowing your own body. And then just place your hands on the top of the head and just smooth and soothe. And then again, check in with yourself. You might feel a little bit dizzy. You might feel, whew, it's a little bit of energy. And if you do, just shake it out. Just give it a bit of a shake, whatever, again, within the range of your movement is. And ground your feet. Just bring your awareness to your feet. These are also lymphatic reflex points that you can rub, which are very good to Again, get that lymph moving. So if you're not able to move yourself, so if you struggle to move or to do any bit of exercise, rubbing these lymphatic points can really help, and they can be very tender on people. So go in gently with just the pads of the fingers, and you'll see I've outlined the area kind of for the lungs, which, and you can say to yourself, I let go of grief. I let go of grief. As you do that, you'll notice they're on that kind of flushing point. The central brain, I've told you, those points around the shoulder joint, kind of there. The adrenals are if you come 2 inches outside the belly, either side of the belly button, and 2 inches up and rub there, you'll find they can be quite tender. My own adrenals would be my own Achilles heel, and I try and rub them most days. Um, so that can be good. And the small intestine, this is good after food as well, is on the border of the rib cage. Um, so you're kind of just following the ribs around and just giving, again, with the pads of the fingers, a little bit of a rub around. That can also be very tender, but that can get things moving around the body. I'll put one in for the large intestine as well, because a lot of people suffer with constipation or maybe even with loose bowels, depending. And so that is just literally working along the outside of the thigh on kind of your like trouser seam. So it's like the middle of the thigh, and rubbing from the knee up towards the hip. And that can be excruciatingly tender on people when I'm working on them and on myself. You can give them a rub, and it stimulates the lymphatic system to go and feed and clean our muscles, which then allow us to bring more movement into the body. So these are a range of practical exercises you can do. So you can do a body scan, but with a tense and release. Like we just tense the entire body for this, but in that one you actually tense each little part. And it's a small, tiny um, movement. It's just a bit of awareness, and then you release it. And it can be really beneficial for the body to do that. And again, you're working with your body, so you know how much to tense and what you can let go of. With your breathing, so those exercises, the box breathing, which is the in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, in for 4. You'll find some of those on YouTube or Instagram. It's great. The Navy SEALs use it for training for stressful situations. Um, and if you can, try and breathe into your belly rather than your chest. That will help with adrenal stress as well. So you're bring your hands to your belly, and when you breathe in, focus on pushing the belly out and then allowing the belly to deflate like a balloon as you breathe out. So you breathe in and you fill up the belly, and you breathe out and you deflate the belly. Okay. You can also do a joint warm up. So you can do this lying down or sitting up, and it's just working with your joints. And it's like starting with the left wrist and just giving the wrist a little bit of a shake backwards and forwards. You can put on some music and do that. Then you can get your elbow and just move the elbow. Bring your focus then to the shoulder. Start working on the shoulder. Again, really gentle, small movements. You can even imagine these movements, and it will still have an impact in the brain, and create better or neural pathways that will allow more ease of movement. And then you move down to the hip, the knee, the ankle, and then come from the ankle on the next side of the body and move right up again to until you get to the joints on the other side. So it's just, again, when we slow down and when we isolate different small parts of the body and just work with that, it can be really nice and gentle and really help to bring a release to the body. I've put a link there to a daily energy routine by Donna Eden. I don't know if any of you have come across her. She does a lot of energy work, and she has a little routine that you can do for a few minutes every day, which again helps with stuck energy. Another thing, with music, put on your favorite song, even if you're lying down, and just move to it. Just you know, um, don't question it. It'll impact your mood as well, but having a nice song that you listen to, but just allow your body wherever, which part just wants to just bring a little bit of movement in it. You don't have to get up and do a dance routine, but it's just gentle movement. And consistency is key with a lot of this stuff. So a little every day is better than a lot once a week or a month. Yeah. Consistency is key. Drink some water first thing every morning. Drink a little bit again at night, because the more hydrated you are, the better the energy will flow around the body. Sip water throughout the day rather than gulping down a pint of it once or twice a day or whatever. So you can do your meridian brush, and you can do your neurolymphatic points massage on the slides as well. Another thing, cross scroll, and you can do this seated, in even again if you're in the bed, and that's just literally bringing one hand to the other knee and the other hand to the opposite knee, and just moving across the midline of the body. And it integrates the left and right brain hemispheres and gets the brain again moving and thinking a bit more clearly. And again, you're moving some of that lymph as you're doing it. So that's just very gently, and again, going at your own pace. I often, if you're standing, if it's available to you, while you're boiling the kettle, in the time that the kettle is boiling, do a couple of these little things, and, you make a little difference to yourself. So just for yourself, we're about to finish, is making a kind of, I suppose, a commitment to you and to yourself. What's one small supportive action I will take today? And that you can do that every day for yourself. What supports you? And then just thank you for being here today, but to place your hand on your heart, close your eyes, drop into your energy and your body, and see now how you're feeling compared to you were earlier. Has anything changed for you or anything shifted? And just say to your body, I'm listening. Thank you, body. We spend an awful lot of time giving out about our bodies, being frustrated with them, being angry with them, being down because we mightn't be able to do what we used to be able to do. But how about we show our bodies a little bit of love? And we say to them, thank you. Thank you for being here for me. What can I do to support you? Because if we don't listen to the body when it whispers, it will start to scream.